Hi, and welcome to Good Deeds Real Estate with a Mission. I'm Diane Davidson. This is Bill Weidecker. We're here to inform you about real estate. Hi, back from Austin, the Keller Williams annual conference, which was fantastic. Heard all sorts of things from other parts of the country and the world, and here we are back in the Granite State to report on some local numbers and what we're seeing in the market, right?
Well, real estate, like politics, all real estate and all politics, it's local. It is and that's what's going on here. Is what really what's happening nationally has some effect, but little effect when you look at what's going on with the New Hampshire numbers. We are still tight for inventory, but it does feel like we were talking about this beforehand. It does feel like there's a bit of change in the air.
Shift in behavior, right?
Yeah. There's more pushback happening from the buyer side. The buyer gets something under agreement. There's obviously we're starting to see more inspections being included as a condition of sale, which was pretty normal back in the olden days.
Yep.
Prior to
BC.
2020.
Yeah.
But I do believe, we talked about this idea of seasonality, and it's starting to feel a little bit like a market where, this is the market where we kind of get into September, and it feels like the old days in that regard. Whereas before, how did you put it?
We had seasonality, it's like seasonal cycle, and the last few years this has been the season, right? It's just one
big
year after
season.
another, exactly. Yeah. And now this is a lot like it's always been year after year after year, in coming into the fall, coming off of the spring market, where sometimes sellers are a bit ambitious, right? And buyers are busy. Kids are going back to school, sports have started, people are grabbing the last bit of summer, and so just because of the seasons and because of life events and people's calendars, properties always, prior years, would sit on the market a little bit longer. And so it's just a different mentality when buyers perception. When things sit on the market a little bit longer, they start behaving differently. So now we're seeing that again at the time of year that we always used to see it.
Yep. And for the first time in a long time, like Lawrence Yun, who's the chief economist for the National Association of Realtors, has said in the last week, we are starting to look a little bit more like a balanced market. Well, it's the first time in a long time we've heard the real estate market, even nationally, be referred to as the beginning of a balanced market. What does balance mean? It's when you've got about the same amount of sellers as the same amount of buyers, and it doesn't really favor one or the other. If you look at New Hampshire, last week at this time we had, I think when we talked about it last week, we had about 2,050 single-family homes on the market. And just to keep it simple, this week there's 1,950. So it's 100 properties less active on the market. All right, that's the entire state, but it's a 5% drop in active inventory.
And that would be the headline, right?
Yeah.
And that's what people see.
And so if you're a buyer, you think, oh my God, that means it's even harder to buy. If you're a seller, you think, oh my God, I can get even more money. And those two things would seem to point the dial towards, maybe as a seller, I'm going to be able to still push the envelope. And I think we're starting to see a top end there. Prices have gone up and up and up, but now we're starting to see, I think we're creeping up days on market. There's some properties that have come on the market that haven't sold immediately, that are continuing to sit. So I think those numbers are going to manifest themselves in the November numbers or the October numbers.
Well, we discussed before too that when things are reported, they're the result of decisions that were made months and months ago, right? So it really it's lagging, and so it's not. Well, it comes out as current information. It's really historical. But people don't. But it's not written about that way, and it's not perceived that way. So the behavior people exhibit is based on what they consider current, when actually it's a result of the behavior from months ago from others.
Yeah. If you think about it, the things that are closing today were the things that were coming on the market in June or May-ish. And so if they're coming on the market in May and June, when are you as a seller, if you're going to come on the market in May, starting to think about what the pricing ought to be, or when you should come on the market? And it's usually a couple, 2-3 months before that. So if that's the case, you're looking at February-ish, right? And what was the market like in February, and what were you talking about? You were talking about numbers from a month or two before
Exactly.
that. So now it feels like two different markets,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
In that regard. So, I do feel nationally the numbers that we're seeing may creep into the local market eventually. Now, can we be sure? What do you think? It's hard to know if we can be sure of that, because part of me thinks, are we in this little area where there's just the right amount of demand all the time now, where we've got a good thing going on here in New Hampshire, and there's always going to be, barring a continuing rise in interest rates, which affect the mortgage rates, which might cause a stall in pricing, which may bring about an increase in inventory. Hard to know. Here's what it comes down to. When is the best time to sell the house?
Oh, not rhetorical?
It is. When would the best time to be?
Well, it's not if you actually expect an answer. Okay.
No, but think about it. When do you, if a seller says, when's the best time for me to sell?
When you're ready to sell.
Yeah, when you need to sell or want to sell.
to sell.
Yeah. So I feel like the pricing part is a hard discussion, like trying to pick whether the price is going to be better a year from now or less a year from now is hard to know.
I think too, we do a pretty good job of counseling our clients. Many times sellers are also buyers, right? Or they're buyers now who are concerned that if they buy now, do doom and gloom, and the property that they buy might be worth less when they go to sell it. In most cases, those are buyers just coming into the market, and if it is worth less on a percentage basis, if they're making a lateral move financially, it's a wash.
Mm-hmm.
If they're moving up, a market slightly deflated or slightly down benefits them, because the $50,000 decline in the price of their value of their property is an $80,000 savings in the house they're trading up to, right?
Sure,
So it's
sure.
really trying to understand what is your next step likely to be, and how does that affect your decision now? And I think there are many agents who don't look at it that way and don't impart that sort of that counsel with their buyers.
Another number, it's not a statistical number as it relates to the market, whether it's national or local, but one of the other things that I was taken by was the percentage of people, when you're talking to them as a real estate agent about selling their house for them, and the percentage of people that have another piece of real estate that they may have a plan for in the future. 30% of the sellers have another piece of real estate that they have an interest in. They may have no plan for it immediately, but they may
Haven't thought about it.
they may need to put a plan in place for the future. And I was taken by that, because usually when somebody calls me to hire me to sell a house, it's I'm not thinking about what other properties do you have, and do you have a plan in place for those in the future, right?
Yep.
Because sometimes a proper plan is going to put you in a better tax position. You're going to be able to figure out how to sell that property and when to sell that
Right.
property.
Right.
Anyway.
So did you have any, I had lots of favorite, when we say ahas and takeaways, but one thing, and I don't remember who said it, which it was so true, which is, don't wait to buy real estate. Buy real estate and wait.
Mm-hmm.
Because, we're really we've just hit the, where we should be on a 4% gain every year from right? And so we're really where we should be. It just hasn't been an even trajectory. And so it's a game for those who are willing to wait and hold it. It's still the best investment you can make.
Yeah, it does not feel like it's a long game, given what we've seen in the last few years. It seemed a little bit like the gold rush. Buy a piece of real estate, it's worth 15 to 20% more in a year. And we've seen that before. We really have. There's that rush up, and then when things adjust and they go down, you think, oh my goodness, but really the long term, over time, it's just amazing what happens with real estate prices. And so the best plan you can put in place is buy real estate and wait. And it changed my thinking about that for sure, because I think, well, in down markets, you always feel like you're trying to catch a falling knife, like where's the bottom? But don't worry about it.
Doesn't matter. Just
Don't worry about
stick with it. And then my other favorite thing was that Warren Buffett started really investing at 65. So there's still
Yeah.
hope.
The trajectory, he was
Yeah.
investing all
Very
along, but
true.
the trajectory really
At
took off.
65 took
Yeah.
off. So I'm still waiting a few more months.
You have time. You have a lot of time.
It's all relative. Okay, I think that's it for today. Yes. Okay. Well, thank you so much. Please be sure to follow us on your favorite podcast platform or tune into our YouTube channel.